5 minutes, no time to make an emotional narrative. So, you want to get ahead of your peers in your next school year? Well, here's 5 minutes on how to exactly do that. Yeah, I'm just wasting my time with this intro, let's just roll it. First, you can get ahead by doing a lot of pre-practice tests. Before every class, try to do a practice test before learning a new topic. You can do these practice tests by going into your syllabus and going into your testing section of the topic. Usually, it's the learning outcomes or the subject mastery section. If you don't have a syllabus, you can try searching for a test by simply Googling online. Usually, these practice tests will give you questions that you will eventually learn in the topic, and it'll give you a good idea of the types of questions you might enter when studying the entire topic. And don't worry if you get most of the questions wrong. What's important is you're familiarizing yourself with questions as well as your gaps in your knowledge. So when preparing for a class or a subject in advance, take practice tests first of the topic. That way, it will prime you with the topic without spending a large amount of time. You can also get ahead by having a system and sticking to it. Make sure you have a study system for your notes and scheduling, and stick to the system. If you're using Notion, try to have an organized list of pages for your subjects. If you're using physical notebooks, you can either label them or color code them. If you're using any note-taking digital app, make sure to organize your files and notebooks. For example, scheduling dates such as assignments and quizzes and exams, I mainly use my Notion University hub page or my Akiflow app. As for studying, I take notes mainly on GoodNotes and Notion, and when I get home, I always transfer my notes into Anki, which is my flashcard app. I always stick to the system so that every time I'm studying, I don't have that much friction when putting my lectures into notes and then eventually into my brain. The next study hack I have for you will save you a lot of time when you're learning material, and that is to essentially link when noting, or link when you're taking notes rather. The problem with studying is that we are bombarded with so much information to the point where we don't even know how little the information tidbits fit in the big picture. Well, we could remedy this by using the linking technique when studying. No, not Linkin Park, rest in peace Chester, you absolute legend, but by linking information tidbits to each other. For example, when you're taking down notes, you can write down a subtext around a certain piece of information and relate them to other pieces of information. For example, in my dental material subject, I wrote here the different applications of mercury in different prosthetics. I can then write a little subtext on this note to my previous notes where we talked about the physical properties of mercury, therefore linking those two notes. If you're not into notes, you can also make mind maps. When making mind maps, just write the most important terms and link the relating terms to each other. You're essentially just trying to make a very short summarized visualization of the topic you're studying. Next tip to get ahead is to establish a strong study habit. And I'm emphasizing this, but you're not going to get ahead by studying intensively for a long period of time, even though I made a video about that. You're only going to get ahead if you're consistent with your studies every day. So try and set a study routine every day. Set a time and location for you to study so that the habit will be easy to achieve. Bonus points if you can study outside your house. The retention of information on your brain decreases over time, so it's important that you make sure that even if it's just a simple short study session, it's consistent every day. For example, if you use flashcard apps like Anki, the more consistent you study the flashcards every day, the less cards you have to deal with since the app utilizes spaced repetition, essentially spacing out the intervals of studying of the same pieces of information. The next tip I have is to talk to your seniors, because the people who probably has the best advice for your school year is the people who graduated from it. So if you know any seniors in your school, try to reach them out and to ask for any advice or for any study material that they have left over. I'm sure they're happy to help. Or you could even ask them questions like how certain professors grade their papers, if certain subjects are quizzed mostly from lecture material, or if they're given any syllabus for it. Very useful information. And finally, the last tip for you is to fix your goddamn sleep schedule. And I will basically give you a crash course of how you can exactly do that. Your sleep schedule is based on your circadian rhythm, which is a biological clock built in you. And it's heavily affected by two factors, sunlight and food. And let me emphasize on the food part. So how do you fix your sleep schedule? First, set an alarm for the time you want to wake up, and make sure that the alarm is really loud and will wake you up no matter what. And once you wake up, eat a big ass meal, like lots of protein and stuff. And once you're done with your meal, expose yourself to some sunlight. What you're doing is essentially telling your body that your day starts in this time, and therefore your rhythm will start adjusting to that time. And the obvious, don't use any blue light gadgets in an hour before you sleep. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There was a very quick crash course. I hope you drink your water, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!